What's up?
All right. I took care of the license plate and a few other things.
Okay.
Talked to my mother. She says she would prefer Sunday.
Oh, all right, fine.
So is that all right with you?
Yeah, that's fine.
I mean, I could push it, but
No, that's fine.
She said that it might, it'll work nicely after the concert, for example,
Okay.
on Sunday afternoon.
Okay.
So, plus, she was with Barb last night. She has plans for lunch tomorrow, and then she'll have something with us on Sunday.
Okay.
Now, that being said, Lynette could always show up by phone and say something, but as you say, there are plans already.
Mhm.
How did your conversation go with Scott?
Interesting. Fine.
How
he wants to. Well, he wants to have a conversation with you included.
About what?
Well, just instead of having to repeat himself.
He doesn't have to repeat himself.
Or you hearing things from me secondhand. But, here, I got a good example. I told him, I said, I need to have information so I don't feel like money is being stolen. And, and I'm being taken.
You shouldn't use the word stolen, but anyway,
go
ahead.
And I'm being taken advantage of. And, I said, for instance, I don't know, it came up in the conversation about car. And I said, yeah, Michael bought the new Fiat was $40,000. He goes, no, that was the truck. And I said,
Liz,
well, what?
You knew that it wasn't the Fiat on your return. It was the truck. We talked about that.
It turns out Michael owns the truck.
Okay, but Liz, first of all, you still don't understand how this works, clearly, and neither does he. It doesn't, first of all, I don't know why he bought it instead of the company. It makes no sense. But it's worse that he bought it than the company bought it.
I'm saying that's why it was on the tax return, the personal tax return.
I figured that out.
I know you did, but I'm saying.
That doesn't make. Okay, but you know what? He can't, even though he bought it, he can't write it off. For someone who insists on making 110% stop at a stop sign, what he's doing is a felony. What you're doing, if you run a stop sign, it's not a felony. So I knew that it was the truck, and I assumed that maybe that's why they did it that way, because Michael bought it. But as I have said to you before, how much has Michael used it? And how much has he used it for business?
Well, Scott altogether is worried that you're going to turn everybody into the IRS.
Is that what he told you?
Yeah. Yeah, from comments that you made back at that dinner at Coyote Cafe.
Well, at least he was listening to something I said. So we know several things. One, we know that he listened a little bit. Two, he's worried because, he must realize that I know what I'm talking about, and what he's doing is outside the purview of what's correct.
I don't know if he knows that or not, but he certainly is concerned that you're going to alert the IRS that things have not been done right.
Well, I'm glad he has so much confidence in me. And similarly, that you have so much confidence in me.
I'm just repeating what he told me. That's all.
Well, But again, he wouldn't have anything to worry about if they were doing things correctly, first of all, regardless of what do you think I may or may not do. The mere fact that he's worried about it shows that he knows that he has something to worry about. Because if he had done it right, there'd be nothing that anyone could say to the IRS or anyone else about having done it improperly.
My
Right?
guess is that he believes you look at it in terms of black and white, and he looks at it in terms of gray areas.
No, well, he's absolutely wrong. Because I think it's just the opposite. I see it in the gray hues, and I think he looks at it as black and white. Black and white being he can do whatever he wants in whatever way he wants. And it's always done the same way, which is improper and wrong. So how long did you talk to him?
Well, about an hour. We talked about Peter, too, for a little bit.
What's going on with Peter?
And talked about Coeur d'Alene. And that, well, I'll tell you when you get here.
Well, I'm not coming there.
What do you mean you're not coming here?
Well, if my mother's not expecting us, I'm not coming anytime soon. You know, I'm not. It's too late to leave now if we're not going to my mother's house.
Yeah.
And I'll just stay here.
So you're not coming tonight?
Well, you know, consider it from my viewpoint. I've been out there with you trying to help you, and what do I get? Scott saying he's afraid I'm going to turn you all into the IRS, and you not disagreeing with it.
What are you talking about? Of course I disagreed with it.
What did you tell him?
I told him that is ridiculous, that you're not calling the IRS. And that your only concern is helping protect me and my welfare and looking out for me.
What did he say to that?
He said that he's looking out for the company and everybody involved in the company as well.
Well, if he was truly doing that, then he wouldn't be breaking the law. I mean, you don't open yourself up to that kind of liability. You know, I mean, it's not my wish to get involved in a big debate with Scott about tax law. You know, I mean, he could have just as easily, back from the Coyote Cafe dinner, have discussed it with me and so forth, instead of just cutting me off and you cutting me off. And I just, based on that, I decided it was wiser to just leave it alone at the time. But, you know, just because the money is spent doesn't mean it's deductible. Or that just because Michael bought the truck means that you can write it off 100% on your individual tax return, and he did it incorrectly. Even if he could have written it off, it was done improperly.
Did I say that it was done correctly?
No, but you believe Scott first, always.
No, I am simply giving you information. That's all I'm doing.
And you know, I mean, there are so many things. I mean, you just don't realize how bad it is, the stuff that they've done. I said, if your return were to be audited, it would not be good. And, you know, Scott using these schemes and writing everything off doesn't make it right. And I'm sure that $175,000 for Michael's income for last year is ridiculous. Why would he think that I would turn you all into the IRS? Why does he and why does Lissy think that? Are you there?
I don't know if Lissy thinks that or not.
Well, if Scott does, Lissy does.
Well, I've clearly done a very bad job.
Liz, that's your standard answer.
For you to automatically jump to the conclusion that I didn't defend you, or however you want to put it.
You never have.
And that I believe him and I don't believe you.
You always accept what he says, and you don't believe or accept what I say to you.
Well, that isn't the case, and that's why I go back to saying I've clearly done a very bad job, if that's how you feel. I'm sorry.
Well, all right, so what did he have to say about Peter?
Same stuff.
So Peter's not doing a good job anymore?
No, it's more that, the complaining about the referees and the hockey and, all this other sort of peripheral stuff. And he talked about how he wanted to rent a helicopter to take these, for photography for Stromer. And I said, Scott, you can't take most of that seriously. He just talks. Renting a helicopter and doing this and doing that. That's, it's talk.
Yep. Any more than what Scott says is often just either talk or ridiculous.
So, I asked about the car.
You mean Scott, Peter's car?
Yeah, and Scott said, he is, keeps going back and forth. Peter keeps going back and forth about does he want to buy this intercooler or does he want to buy that one or this one or the other one? And I said, well, it sounds like he sort of missed the window of opportunity at this point for you to help him with it if you're leaving next week.
What did he say to that?
So, well, yeah. He told Peter kept saying, well, he was waiting to look at what was the problem was for Scott to bring the ramps back. Scott said, first of all, the ramps that he has are truck ramps. And he said, he told Peter, go to, you order the part, find out what tools you need. He said, you should go buy the tools at Walmart. They'd all cost like $60. And he said, my tools, when I leave here, my tools are coming with me. So wouldn't it make sense for you to have your own tools? They're not that expensive.
He's taking his tools to Coeur d'Alene?
No, when he moves eventually.
Well, but Peter doesn't need all those tools. He just needs it for the one time. I mean, Peter should, really go to the Volkswagen dealership anyway. But anyway, I mean that seems to me like, instead of screwing around with it, just take it to the dealership.
Wow.
I mean, he should find out if they'll tell him what's wrong without actually doing the work right away and give him an estimate. And usually they'll do that, and then he can know what to do. I mean, you know, if it's easier and less expensive to buy the tools and do it himself, then okay. But anyway, all right. So basically, Scott's comment about Peter is that he still complains about everything.
Right.
Which is what Peter does.
Mm-hmm.
But mostly because he likes to talk. You know, well, anyway, all right. So Scott doesn't have as much patience about Peter as he expects everyone else to have about himself. Does that pretty well sum it up?
I don't know.
All right. So what did he say about Coeur d'Alene and northern Idaho?
They're looking for a vacation rental for like a month or so.
So they'd stay up there.
Yeah. And they've talked to people who live there. They've talked to Jews who live there. And they don't seem to think that, yes, if you were to move up there and start talking about Obamacare and everyone should be liberal and everything else, then yes, then you would have a problem. But apparently they talked to somebody who moved there from L.A. and said, you'd see more racism on an L.A. street, in an hour than they have in the 5 years they've been living in Coeur d'Alene.
And there's probably a good reason for that. There aren't any or many blacks in Coeur d'Alene, and there's a lot of them in L.A.
Right.
Or Hispanics or whatever.
Right. It's 96% white.
Yeah. And not only that, it seems to me that living there would get pretty old pretty fast.
Well, apparently there's also a temple in the area, but it's a Jews for Jesus. But it is a temple. But there is a real temple in Spokane.
Well, they didn't go to the temple when they were here.
I know. I'm just saying it's not completely bereft of Jews.
But that's in Spokane.
Right, which is like downtown Chicago from here.
Well, but not in the same way because it's not, a continuous suburban area, but all right. And it's a different state and all the rest of that stuff. What can I say? All right, so is he going to give you the American Express statements and access to to be able to get them yourself?
He said he'd be happy to go over everything and to send me PDFs of whatever. He wanted to hold off and have you involved in the conversation. Maybe that's not such a good idea. I don't know.
Well, I'm not.
I told him it was me asking about this. It wasn't you.
Yeah.
That it was. I needed the information, and in order to, he keeps saying nothing nefarious is going on, this, that, and the other thing. I said, fine, but I've always been suspicious. I said I've been suspicious since before Edward, and I need to be satisfied. I need to have proof.
What did he say about the W-2?
I don't know.
Did you ask him?
Well, that was sort of all in the same mix.
So he didn't even give you an answer.
I do have to decide going forward for next year if I want to get money from Zigzag or ZZC, or if it should be paid to me through EGG.
Oh, my goodness. He really isn't looking out for you, Liz. You know, he gets this idea in his head, and him controlling everything, I'm telling you, it's a big problem. And, you know, you don't understand the ramifications.
I'm the first one to admit I don't.
And I don't think you want to understand it either.
Yes, I do.
I don't even think he gets it, really. Not really. It's rather scary. All right. Well, I don't know what to say at this point. I mean, it's Scott's going to convince you of whatever he can, and he is not going to convince me, but he's going to try. And he's not going to like my responses, and you know, him saying that I only believe in black and white and not gray shows he doesn't really understand at all.
He didn't say that. That was my attempt at an explanation.
And what did he say?
All he said was he was concerned that he didn't know what you were going to do. Apparently he's been concerned since that dinner that you were going to call the IRS and turn Michael in.
And not him. Well, but, you know, the discussion at that dinner didn't surround Michael. It surrounded what Scott was doing. Well, so he decided today to tell you instead of prior to today?
To tell me what?
That he was concerned that I was going to turn him or Michael or
Yes,
both of them in?
I've never heard that before.
Well, I don't know what to say to you, like I said. So he's going to continue to control things and let you be taken advantage of.
Well, he maintains that I'm not being taken advantage of.
Yeah, well, I've seen zero proof of that. You know, I've tried to explain these things to you in the past, and either you don't remember, don't understand, don't want to understand, don't want to remember, or don't want to hear about it. But, you know, I've tried to explain these things to you, and your answer is essentially, I don't want to hear about it. So, all right. So, you know, ironically, whatever complaining he says Peter does, he does a fair amount of complaining too. Lately about me, apparently. And although it's been an ongoing thing. All right. Anything else?
No, that covers it.
Anything else out of the conversation with Scott?
No.
All right. All right. You want to talk later?
Sure.
Are you sure?
Sure.
Really? Think about it. Let me know.
I don't have to think about it. I don't dismiss you as easily as you do me.
I don't dismiss you, and I'm not dismissing you now. You know, I'm the one who's been trying to protect you, and you know, you choose to accept whatever Michael and Scott say rather than what I tell you.
Well, that's why Scott wanted you included in the conversation, because he has the information. I don't.
Well, he has the information. It doesn't mean he's going to share the things that we would want to hear, or that it's going to be correct or proper.
So you're assuming that he's going to lie to us.
Did I say that?
Well, telling us incorrect information is lying.
I didn't
isn't it?
say information. I said the way he's done it. He's done the tax returns,
Oh.
prepared them, whatever. I mean, I think I demonstrated to you roughly what had happened. And by the way, the fact that the truck is in Michael's name, again, your money. And, you know, the fact that that doesn't bother you with any of the many cars he buys, you know, don't you think that that's something that should be of a concern to you? I guess not. All right, anything else?
I have no control over that.
Well, I think you could. So, all right, I'll let you go and do something you prefer to do, and we can talk later.
Okay.
All right.
Bye.
I'm not dismissing you.
All right.
All right.